when I first messaged you, like, hey, come on, I was thinking, I honestly was thinking your seascapes. We were going to be talking about that. And
Yeah.
then, and then I seen what you sent. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I was like, I didn't know he did this. And I was
Yeah.
like,
It's been a
oh, jeez.
turn in the last year, I think.
Just this past year.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're always, you always dabbed in portraits as well, along with your
Yeah.
with the cease, like doing that slow shutter, all those
Yeah.
compositing,
Yeah.
your seascape stuff. And then when I seen this, I was like, oh, jeez, it did take a turn. So just
Yeah.
this past year.
Yeah. This all of 2022, I think I started with that Star Wars high flying dress, the red high flying dress with Mel, the model. It all started with that,
Oh yeah.
and it's been building.
And what made you start to want to, I guess, or actually, what would you consider this type of photography? Are we going to go cosplay? Are we going to go just your composite?
Just a composite. I like to take something that I've seen, like a movie, and kind of turn it into my spin.
Okay.
So not really cosplay. I'm not looking for the costumes itself.
Okay.
It's more of I want to put my imagination into it. Basically.
Into certain characters, into certain movies that you like the most.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely can see Star Wars in a lot of them.
Yeah.
What other movies inspire you?
MCU, the Marvel Universe.
Yeah. I know.
Wait, the fire dress one was born from Wanda.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I wanted to make her levitate, but having a ladder in that rocky terrain is not too smart.
How many, I mean, when you go down, how many people do you bring with you to help with the shoot? Because that can't be a one-man thing, right?
No. I got a team of 3 guys. You probably know them. Tian, Eric, and Brandon.
Oh, okay. Good.
And they help. I usually, on those big production shoots, what I call big, it's at sunrise. So I have a very short amount of time to shoot. So we usually meet at 5 and sunrise is around 6:30, 7 o'clock. So we have, within a 2-hour span, we have that much time to shoot. So the light's constantly changing, and that's what my biggest problem is right now.
Just time. Just
Time
that window.
And getting what I need with the light, without the light changing, the ambient light changing, and having to adjust on my lights again, every time.
Oh, I see.
So I do take compromises on my lighting. It started with 2 lights. Now I'm up to 4.
Oh, no wonder you need a whole crew.
A lot of
out there.
gels I've been playing with. Yeah, and then, it's so much easier. We usually have 3 backpacks full and a light stand and maybe a couple large umbrellas.
Any type of lights you use in particular that is your go-to?
It's Godox.
All Godox.
I have one 300 watt, 2 200s, and 4 100s.
And that's all, and you use all of those pretty much for the shoot.
I've kind of moved away from the 200 and 300, and I picked up an extra 100 because I shoot it early morning, so it's dark. When we get to location, it is pitch black.
Yeah.
So for that type of scenario, 100 watt light is
More than
fine.
enough.
Yeah, it's fine. It's when the sun rises, that's when I come into problems, and that's pretty much where we wrap it up.
So really, you're only shooting for maybe about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
45 minutes, maybe an hour.
We got to set up.
Yeah.
The model has to set up, get into her outfit, and yeah.
And the models that you find, like you express your your idea, or do you find a lot of them who are already in the? I hate to keep going back to the cosplay, but they're already part of that community.
I try to look for. I mean, I've met a lot of models, and we talk during the shoot, and I find a lot of them are into not necessarily cosplay, but sci-fi fantasy
Oh,
thing.
okay. For you, how long do you think you've been a fan of that sci-fi
Oh,
fantasy realm?
all my life. Star Trek days, original TV Star Trek days.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, yeah, no, thanks for bringing some of these photos, taking a
yeah.
look at these. Can you tell me about this one that we have up here?
That was my Lady Hawkeye shoot. Of course, inspired by the Hawkeye series, the
Mm-hmm.
Avengers and the Hawkeye series. I was looking for somebody who knew how to use a bow
Okay.
for the longest time, almost a year.
Really?
Yeah,
Is that your bowl or is
that's hers.
that's hers? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I want to make it as realistic as possible. So getting someone who fits my vision,
Mm-hmm.
but doesn't know how to use a bow. I want to make it convincing, right?
Right.
So I finally found this girl, Nicole, and I contacted her. I told her about my vision about Lady Hawkeye, and she was all on. So
Nice. So, looking at a lot of the work here, the before and after, when you envision the final product in your head, how, like all the elements that go into it, like the fire, the color gels, is that all on the fly or how are you
no,
coming up with that final?
that's. I think in my last couple of shoots, in my last 3 shoots, I think my production shoots, I've actually started pre-visualizing what I wanted. As far as color gels, rim lighting,
Mm-hmm.
key lighting, what I'm going to use, modifiers, and even with the lightsabers now, I if the subject is holding it closer downwards towards the ground, I know there's going to be a glow on the ground. So I plan for that now. So I actually set a gelled light to hit
Aiming
the
at the ground.
ground,
Nice.
so I don't have to do that in post.
I was about to say
Yeah.
how many, like of the elements, like the fire, where are you getting that element? Is it just
It's
stock, like
it's
online, or are you
it's
actually
it's on
shooting fire
yeah.
and compositing it after?
It's online.
It's all up. It's
I found this one guy
uh,
who sells this, and it's been really good. It's super easy to use. In fact,
is it geared towards sci-fi animation or not animations, but
well,
effects, or is it just
effects. I think
yeah?
more effects like fire effects, smoke
Okay.
effects, dust effects.
What about that lightsaber?
A lightsaber. Yeah, he
That
even has a
lightsaber,
lightsaber.
I seen that, and I
Okay.
was like,
Uh,
"Oh man, Ryan, how long is this taking you to make this effect?" Because that one. Look,
yeah,
it's so realistic. I'm like,
I
"Oh,
had to
jeez."
I had to learn. This was my very first shoot with Mel, and her friend, and I had to in post. I had to learn how to. I don't know how many YouTube videos I watched to make that effect,
Wow.
and I finally did my entire edits and all the pictures, and then I found this other guy which I go through, and his one was more realistic like this one,
Mm-hmm.
and it was what took me 5 minutes to do before. It's only taking me a couple of seconds now.
Really?
Yeah, so it's it's a learning thing. You need to be aware of the community out there and what they're using. So I had to go back and redo everything with the lightsaber, and it turned out very cool.
No, yeah, it's super cool. I
I
mean,
love the effect, and even on this on her face,
mhm.
it was at that time. I believe it was Brandon who was telling me that we should gel her face with the color of the saber. So it was. I think that started the process of me thinking about where I should put my lights,
Oh, okay.
even though there's nothing happening.
Right. Just
It's
that
the afterthought. It's the final
that
vision.
final product.
Yeah.
How many shots? How many different shots is this one here? I mean, I'm sure you know, but then normally for these end products that you have, how many different shots is it? one shot of the dress, composited with the
It's
face, composited with the background, or did you get it all in one?
I I pretty much got it all in one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the shot. That's the
Okay.
shot.
Oh man, look like Brandon is up there multitasking, floofing the dress, holding the
Yeah,
light.
yeah, yeah. And then Eric is on here. Eric's my dress tosser.
Okay.
He
Okay.
he's fond of technique that I just love. He and for these long dresses, ultimately you want to go for a nice windy day to have it flowing in the wind and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to look for locations where the wind's being blocked,
Mm-hmm.
so I can control the dress and how it flows.
Nice. That's super smart, and yeah, I'm sure that definitely helps. With the time of everything that
Yeah.
you're limited with. Looking at all this, I mean, what do you do with? I mean, out of curiosity, like, what do you do with the photos? Is it something that you plan on pushing out for like a resale, or is it just more for um?
Yeah, it's more for my creative outlet.
Okay.
I don't monetize any of this. It's I have a need for my creative outlet. Ever since I was a small kid. I mean, I used to draw before, went into pencil art, and then picked up an airbrush, started doing airbrush, and from the airbrush I moved to photography.
Nice. Is there anything from your art that you think you would incorporate into photography as far as like the backgrounds or anything that you made or drew in the past?
Um, I think it's the vision. I think I used to collect comic books.
Okay.
So and I used to draw them out. A friend and me, we used to make our own comic books. So we used to have to like storyboard, and I've started to storyboard
Oh, really?
my shots, my shoots
Nice. So you can actually put it together in a
in a
sequence to
sequence.
get a
You're
short
right,
story.
right, right.
When is that coming out?
Like this series is actually storyboarded. Unintentionally, I didn't plan it on that way, but I had specific shots in mind that I wanted to get, and it worked out perfectly.
Wow. Good, good, good. Well, man, I'm excited to see that, like if there's ever that end product of a short comic with all your pictures put together,
So
that'd be super, super exciting to see.
that'd be a good Instagram post.
Yeah, like yeah, I mean, just either whether it's a story or a
Yeah,
reel or just even a post that we
yeah,
flip through, I think that'd be super exciting.
yeah.
Um, and like I mentioned, I know you did a lot of the seascapes before. Like, is the techniques that you picked up, whether it's the editing or shooting from the seascapes, is that things that you kind of had to implement in this style of photography, or what you're shooting with the?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with how I edit because I mean, Photoshop is a beast,
Hmm.
and I've been shooting for close to 20 years now. Out of those 20, I think 15 I've been using Photoshop, and
Like Photoshop 7, 5.
probably 5.
While it was on CDs
It
with
was,
the activation
no, this
code.
was a floppy disk.
Lobby.
But yeah, it's a it's a with Photoshop, it's so vast in what it can do. You need to use it almost every day,
Hmm.
or else you're gonna forget how to do stuff.
And there's so much updates and
Yeah,
changes to it, and tools that you can utilize.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, you
yeah,
need to really, oh yeah, almost on a daily basis, stay
yeah,
up to date with Photoshop.
yeah.
Is there any, with as far as compositing, because I know that's a lot of what goes into your final product. Is there like one technique or one tool that you use the most that you could share with anybody watching?
I do it on set while we're on location. So I have whoever's holding my light. So say this is a bad picture example, but if I have my subject here, my key light here, and a background here, and if I'm doing a wide shot and they're both in my frame,
Hmm.
I'll take the shot with the flash And as I'm holding the camera up to I'll yell out to my guys, okay, step out.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll step out of the frame. I'll take another shot.
Without it.
And then I'll bring that into Photoshop and I'll just erase the guys.
Oh, okay, okay. So like a lot of masking and
Yeah, it's a crap load of masking
Yeah.
in some of these. Like even with this one, you know, you're talking about 70 plus layers.
oh man, really?
yeah.
70?
My last one.
What is that file size looking like, and
My
how can your
last one
computer hold up?
was 12 gigs.
What kind of computer are you using?
It's MacBook Pro, 2019, I think I got it.
And it's holding up a 12 gig file as you edit.
Yeah, it has its moments
Yeah. Yeah.
where I have to turn off my music or. But yeah, I'm planning on upgrading soon.
As I know, as time goes on and as you definitely upgrade equipment, files get bigger.
Yeah.
And how Photoshop renders out and utilizes all that storage space. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think that's kind of the give and take with technology.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is just getting bigger, faster,
Yeah.
stronger, and everything kind of stays up to date, or
Yeah,
So
and yeah, as a photographer or creator, you need to stay up
yeah.
with technology.
Where was that second one? So tell me about this one. I mean, obviously it's Halloween theme, which
Yeah.
was
This is a friend of mine, another friend of mine. I tend to shoot with models that I've shot before, and you know they've become, instead of models, they're my friends now. So she approached me about a pumpkin head shoot. It was like 2 weeks before Halloween. And like, okay, sounds good. I'm up for any kind of challenge. So we actually went down to a Judd Trail, and
Okay.
I found a location. And it doesn't look like much, the actual raw file, but it's, like I said, it's the vision that I preconceive what I can do with it. So as I'm shooting, I'm actually seeing what the final thing is going to be like already in my head. And I'll show the models, you know, pictures in the back of the camera. A lot of times they'll be underwhelmed.
Right.
They don't understand. They don't understand what I see, right?
Like, hey, just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out great. You're doing good so far. Just let's get back there and shoot before the sun comes up.
Yeah, exactly. So this one, I had her sit down behind that tree, and I loved all the textures in the foreground, the background, and to even accentuate the story more in this image, I added the figure in the background. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so like a wandering hiker coming into her lair. Yeah.
Oh man.
Her next victim.
Right. So man, just hearing you say that, you already just told a story with this one photo, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
That you see it on set, and you can actually, just from a photo, and with the power of Photoshop, transform it into what you see in your head.
What I've learned was there's this two words that I when I look at a raw picture, and I just tell myself, what if? What if I do this, or what if I do that? How is it going to affect the image? So like in this one, there are actually no eyes, right? There's a geode flash behind her that illuminated some of the leaves.
Oh,
And when I
okay,
saw that, it
orange.
said they look like eyes.
Yeah.
So I took that, I made another set, and I put it like eyes, and I just varied the size and angle, and that's how the eyes came to be in this, which added so much to the image.
It did. Yeah. Holy smokes, that's awesome. And let's see, where was this shot from this raw photo to here?
Yeah,
I think this was the one that kind of blew me away there. I think there's so much character, emotion, everything in this one photo. I'm like, how did you see this, and how did this
Yeah,
come together?
there was a samurai movie I was watching, and there was one scene where the guy was on one knee, holding his sword, pulling it halfway out, and like, oh, that's a cool shot. So I went back, I took a screenshot, and I started to work on it in my head,
Uh huh.
what I could do with it, and that's when I contacted the model.
Nice. So wow. So you actually as you watch this movie, watch this show, you actually paused it, took a screenshot of that,
Yeah,
and started to manipulate it,
let the imagination just go.
start to
Yeah,
go, and that's how you came up with this final product.
yeah.
Nice.
And a lot of these things, like the backlighting,
Mm-hmm.
this glow, it's the same process. What if?
Right.
I never planned on doing that, but I said, what if I put a glow behind her? How would that look? And
Mm-hmm.
crap, it worked so good. So I just kept it.
I mean, looking at the raw file versus this final product, I can almost see how you get up to 70 layers. You know, like
Yeah, yeah,
there's a
it's
smoke,
crazy.
obviously the moon. There's a different color glow on the ground.
I think the background is the same. Yeah, so the background is the same. I
Mm-hmm.
just added the tint and the moon and the smoke and even the glow over here
Mm-hmm.
from the sword. So yeah, that's all need to be. I think if I to reshoot it again, I shoot it a little bit different and light more of the area that I need to.
I mean, looking at this, it almost looks spot on with the with the sword and how the light would fall naturally. And
Yeah.
what I mean, I know you said that's something that you want to, moving forward, but what do you have planned next as far as what's the next vision running through your head?
Actually have a shoot this weekend. It's a free diver I wanted to shoot. So that's fairly simple, but there's another project I've been thinking about. It's going to be kind of big. It's going to involve three people.
Like a 3-man team or 3 people in the shot?
Three people in the shot. I've never shot more than two people at one time. So I would have to figure out how I would light all 3.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it'll hopefully involve a high flying dress, and it'll be a Star Wars team, a Jedi.
Nice. Well, if you ever need like a little Jedi, I have one. He's about 9 years old, kind of
Okay, yeah,
a big guy. So if you ever
Yeah.
need a actual Jedi, I
Okay.
have one.
Yeah.
He's available. So yeah, again, looking at this shot, I can see how you came up with 70 different layers. And like you said, you've been using Photoshop for about 15 years now.
yeah.
From that point, that editing style, that evolution, like how did you get from there to here? Like how did you come up with your own unique style?
I think it has a lot to do with my love for sci-fi and watching a lot of movies, and of course the Marvel Avengers, and all these are the special effects in these movies are just crazy.
Yeah.
Everything is larger than life, huge, and I think that has influenced me as far as how I figure out my edits.
And what you want that final product to look like.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot has to do with, like I said, that 2 words. What if? What if I do this? What if? It doesn't always work out.
Right. But that's the
And-
beauty of digital photography
Yeah.
nowadays is you can
Yeah,
do it, scratch the edit, delete the
Yeah.
file, and start all over.
yeah, yeah. But you have to. I gotta stress that if you need to get the shot halfway decent, you don't have to nail it because I rarely nail it. At least halfway decent or 3/4 way decent of what your vision is going to be, and you from there you elaborate in Photoshop. And even when I'm on location, I'm looking at the back of My guys know that when I start swearing,
You,
I
you
mean,
didn't get it.
no, that it means that I got the shot.
Oh.
I got the shot that I wanted,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, everybody's happy.
Nice, nice, nice. So I know you mentioned like getting it right, or 50, 75% right out of camera.
Yeah,
Like I noticed that a lot of your shots, and you mentioned that you're shooting like before the sun comes up.
right.
Um, what if you don't mind sharing, like what camera settings, especially like your ISO, especially such low light, what ISOs are acceptable for you to get this final product? Because if I had to go shoot outside, I'm like thinking, like ISO 1000. Are you there, or is it like the lights that you're using? Can you shoot any lower?
Well, I think with the technology today and the cameras that's available to us now,
Mm-hmm.
especially now with the higher ISOs, I think I normally start at 200
Mm-hmm.
and I adjust from there if I cannot adjust it with aperture or shutter. Yeah, my aperture is most of the time at around f2. That's kind of my sweet spot I found.
Okay.
So that's a pretty wide aperture.
Yeah.
Shutter speed, I always start at 250.
Okay.
That's my sync speed for my lights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I then adjust the ISO as needed.
Are these shots, when you're shooting, are they physically moving, or are they still posed?
They're still
Still
posed.
posed. Okay,
Yeah.
so you have a little bit of wiggle room with that shutter then to
Yeah, to slow it
slow it
down.
down a
Yeah.
little. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good to know. I mean, not off. I can't remember the last time I went out before the sun got up to go take pictures. So I mean, can't even think about the settings there. Um, let's see.
Yeah, even with these new cameras, these newer cameras like
Mm-hmm.
the Sony's, I also found out they have what they call dual ISO.
Okay, tell me about that because
So
I don't
your
shoot
base
Fuji.
ISO.
No, I don't shoot Fuji Canon and Fuji
Hey,
film.
I used to be Fuji.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, tell me about that dual ISO.
But their base ISO is
Okay.
100 for the A1 and the A7 IV. His base ISO is 100.
Mm-hmm.
I believe for the A1 it's the second their second ISO is 500, I think. It tends to at 500 it tends to reduce the noise. Not a whole lot, but enough to get away with.
Oh, okay.
So
I
I'm
see.
always looking at that. If I need to go higher, I'll go higher.
Mhm.
Yeah. With the software today, the noise reduction
Mm-hmm.
software,
So powerful, yeah.
the AI, God, yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man.
Yeah, don't get me started on AI.
Yeah, I know. That's a whole nother thing
Yeah.
coming up. Is that something that you thinking you were going to dab in? I mean, creating those.
I don't think so. This is my art.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different. I see it as a different type of art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these. What type of modifiers are you using, or is it just through the gel, like shooting through a color gel?
My key light has evolved from a 25-inch octa.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it is still a 25-inch octa. Majority of the time is gridded,
Mm-hmm.
and usually my two, either my kicker and my two rim lights are the 8100s with the Magmod grids,
Mm-hmm.
just and the gels. They're so easy to use, and that's less crap for me to carry
Yeah. Yeah.
rather than bringing in a strip box. Well, it's less stuff for my guys to carry.
Yeah. Yeah. this is kind of like a hike down, right? It's not just
Yeah,
you
yeah.
park and then it's right there. This is a hike down. How far is the hike?
Uh, I would say about 30, 20, 30 yards down.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, carrying
And
equipment, that's far,
it's a
yeah.
steep
And you
hill.
can't see anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
jeez.
in the dark with headlamps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I even use spikes to go down just to
Oh,
get more
really?
grip.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry
And I always tell the models to wear sneakers when we go
on the way
there.
down.
So I bought spikes for them,
Mm-hmm.
different sizes. So safety is one of my biggest concern at all the shoots. I've told the guys, if the choice was to lose my light in the water, in the ocean, or save the model, you save the model first. I don't give a crap about my lights. If you
I
gotta
don't know if you
grab
gotta
her,
tell them that, but oh
but
boy.
yeah, safety is a big concern of mine. I know there's a lot of photographers I talk to, they don't really think about it, especially in those big dresses. It becomes a huge sail in the wind
Right.
when it's windy. And even at this shoot, it was gusting, I'd say maybe 50 miles an hour.
Oh, jeez.
And when it would gust, the wind would catch
just
it
carry.
and she would just fall off balance. So yeah, my guys would be always around her, ready to grab her. Yeah.
How close are you to the ledge? And
Yeah,
'cause,
yeah,
I mean, this is a
depends.
wide shot, so you got to be
I think
at least what 10, 15 feet back.
this was with my 50 or 85, I forget. I was a good 10 yards away from the model just to get the entire
Yeah.
shot. You know, and with the A1, it's 50 megapixels, so I can always crop it. So I always overshoot.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. I mean, was there anything else that you wanted to, touch on as far as, your style, technique? What's next?
Yeah, just pretty much trying to get, like I said, my next shoot is 3 people. So that's another hill I have to tackle. Yeah. And I need to figure out how we're going to light 3 people at one time.
Just got to go buy more equipment from Pro Camera Hoy.
Yeah.
Is there any, quick tips or anything you would suggest to any photographers that see this and like, I'm a Star Wars fan, I want to do this.
Yeah.
What would be, like the first thing that you suggest to them to get started?
A lot of especially newer people who ask me questions, I've come to find that they want to shoot like this, but they don't want to go out. They're too afraid to go out and shoot. So they stay home, they watch, they look, but
How to just cut them out of the
Yeah.
wall or something.
yeah, and they need to get out. Everybody needs just to get out. This shoot, in fact, this very first production shoot that I did, I woke up that morning. I sat down on my bed. I said, "What are you doing?
Are we really doing this?
Yeah.
Are we really going out there?
How are you gonna do this? How are you gonna do that?" And everything, just anxiety is going through my head. And once I did that first click of the shutter, and everything just went away, and everything started to fall in place. So just get out there. You gotta just get out there and shoot, whether it's productions like this or just going out and shooting a sunrise or shooting a friend, in the park or whatever.
How much do you, again, talking to those who want to start to shoot like this and want this end product, how much camera and photography experience or knowledge do you think that they should have? Like how much training do you think they need with exposure and that exposure triangle? Is it a lot? Is it?
I'd say medium.
Yeah.
I mean, so long as learn your exposure triangle, and once you can grasp that concept, because it took me like 2 years to grasp that concept.
That exposure triangle. So
Yeah.
guys, that's your ISO, your aperture, and your shutter speed. If you don't know it, There's a poster here at Expressions. Come take a look at it and learn what the exposure triangle is all about.
Yeah, and it all ties into each other. Yeah. So once you figure that out, once I figured out that shutter speed affects the light, your ambient,
Hmm.
and aperture affects your flash. Once I kind of figured that out, going out and practicing it, you're not gonna get it the first time. You're gonna screw up so many times, like I did. You know?
Again, that's the beauty of digital
Yeah.
photography. Imagine shooting film back in the day and
Oh, God.
having Polaroids. You're buying a pack of Polaroids for $10 for 10 shots. That's
Yeah.
$1 every time you take
Yeah.
a test shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Digital, you just click away. I
When
mean,
did you get into photography?
um, I'd say about 15, 16 years ago.
And what brought
That
on
I,
that?
I started shooting sports.
Sports?
My girls used to play basketball.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
I started shooting. My younger one got onto the JV at Kalani. So I started shooting the JV, the varsity, and then parents who would play the dual sports,
Hmm.
they would say, "Hey,
Come on, shoot this.
come on, why don't you come on and shoot football?"
Bring your
And
camera and don't forget bring your camera.
yeah, yeah. So I guess I was kind of like the unofficial sports photographer for Kalani for a while, for almost 8 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the yearbook pictures. My pictures are in the yearbook. They're yearbooks,
Nice.
and yeah, I would always share them. I would never charge them. Even the parents, I put them up on Facebook, and they could just download it for free.
Oh, good, 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 good. All right. I mean, yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. No. Again, I appreciate you coming by, talking story about and sharing the wealth of knowledge that you have. For this type of photography, for how you envision it in your head, how you get it into Photoshop, and this final product. Ryan Sakamoto, follow me on Instagram, and thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Yee.
thank you.